Good evening, everyone. Give me
Good
one
evening, sir.
second. Right, I'm going to test. You guys can hear me well?
Hear you loud and clear.
Sounds
Yes,
good.
sir.
So I'm trying to use a different account to sort of record this session. So I've set up a duplicate account from where I can record this meeting. So we'll get started in a few minutes. So we do have 3 cadets here: Bunting, Bruckman, Mitra. So I think Gino cannot make it, or let me just check. Somebody said they cannot make it. Maybe it was Shane. All right, I'm going to start recording this session, and then we'll go over what the agenda is going to be. Right? Sounds good. So today, what we're going to do is in the 2 hours that we have, the first 1 hour is going to be cadet driven, cadet involved. I'm going to ask Cadet Mitra to this question. Have you been able to download the demo program?
Yes, sir. I was able to solve it as well.
All right. So what I would like you to do is start off with the demo program, and you guys have a conversation. The cadets have that conversation. Read through the README. Approach it just like you would approach a competition. And so you're going to share your screen. Bunting and Brugman, you are going to like have those discussions, try to solve it. And Mitra, I know you probably have the answers. I mean, it is a very simple demo, right? It is a very basic level demo. But I would like Bunting and Brugman to get involved in brainstorming what exactly are the challenges in that small demo. So I'm going to sit back. I'm going to turn off my camera and give you about whatever time you require, maybe a max of about an hour to sort of solve that particular demo.
Yes, sir.
All right. So go ahead and share your screen, and cadets Bunting and Brugman, think about this as a preliminary introductory demo for the competition you're going to enter, and have those conversations as required.
All right. Can everyone see my screen? All right, perfect. Okay, it should be loading. No.
So I did share a link yesterday. Were you able to download that?
Yeah, I was able to download that. I actually have an exe file on
Okay.
my search bar. I just searched up. Yeah, and I just opened that. Yeah, it's
Sounds
this one.
good. Mhm.
No, that's different. Actually, give me 1 second. All right, there we go. It's loaded. Okay, so I load that in there. I want the cadets to walk us through how I can do this. So you first enter your unique ID. In this case, it is given to me. Okay. So when I apply this, we can check out the README. That should be the very first thing we do. We read through the README. We look for anything important. So does anyone want to read this README? Bonting, do you want to read this README? Okay. You can just like go from the top all the way down to competition scenario.
Okay. Please read the entire README thoroughly before modifying anything on this computer. Not all vulnerabilities are scored. Unique identifier. If you have not entered a valid unique identifier, please do so immediately by double-clicking on the Cyber Patriot Set Unique Identifier icon on the desktop. If you do not enter a valid unique identifier, this demonstration will stop functioning. Forensic questions. You can score points for correctly answering forensic questions, which are located on the desktop.
There you go. Perfect. So I will read the competition scenario. So this competition scenario is that all user accounts must be password protected. Employees are required to choose secure passwords, and then this policy may not be currently enforced. And we have two non-work related media files. Hacking tools on any computer is strictly prohibited. It's for official business use only by authorized users. Windows 10. So Okay, it should be the latest stable version of Microsoft Edge. Firefox is still considered required software. All right, does everyone want to know what the very first step you should do? Maybe.
Yeah, just
Okay,
so what?
since no one is.
So can you guys discuss what is there in the README? Right, you have to read the. And I know Mitra, you've done this, but sort of understand what is in the README and figure out all the challenges that are listed out in the README. So where do we start? Where do we start first? So can you scroll up a little bit, Mitra?
Yeah.
Scroll up the little bit. So yeah, from here, competition scenario. What is the first challenge that we can do? What is the first statement in the competition scenario? Cadet Bunting? Not read it. What is your
No, just
understanding of the first? What is your understanding of the first two lines in the competition scenario?
It's saying that every single user should have a password, and their each user should have a secure password.
Great. So now what can we do about it? Like, uh, what is it that we, so if that is the only problem we have, challenge we have, the first solution is to do what for us? And again, the question goes for everybody, whether it is Brugman, Chinu, what can we do based on that, on that statement? Every user must be password protected. Every user must have a secure password. And it also states that the policy may not be currently enforced on this computer. So translate the first three lines. That means there are a bunch of users on this computer, and they may or may not have secure passwords. And we as the administrator what should be our next step?
So if the cadets are answering, I'll say it. So I suggest we should go in order. Forensic questions we can come at the very end. But it says the computer security policy requires all user accounts to be password protected. So can anyone please explain to me what an example of a password protected is? Cadet Brugman.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that, please?
Could you please explain to me how password protected should be like? What should we use in order to make a password completely protected? You can refer to this, by the way, for examples.
Would you like, wait, basically, would you like me to explain how to make a good password?
Yeah.
Obviously a lengthy password, a lot of letters and characters, something that obviously can't be cracked really easily, at least 8 digits, I believe. Yeah.
All right, that's perfect. Just to add on to what he said, it should be very lengthy. You should have some capital letters, lowercase letters. You also need special symbols. So our password is actually a perfect example because it has symbols. It's a very lengthy password. It has uppercase and lowercase. Uh, but as you can see, J Wells over here does not have a password protective. Yeah, a password which is secure enough. So does anyone want to tell me how I can access JWell's password and change it?
Where do we start on a Windows computer? Yesterday we had a session, right? We went through. So where do you think we might find that particular option to find a user? We talked about a control panel that controls everything.
Yeah, yeah.
You can start there. Pretty much everything we need can be found from there. Of course, there are shortcuts that you could probably take notes at some point, but if you are lost, you don't know the shortcut, always start at the control panel. But that being said, Cadet Mitra, feel free to explain it whichever way that works for you.
Sure. No, I don't want this to be loaded. All right. So a shortcut that you could. No, sorry, this is not my computer. Computer is lagging right now. Okay. There we go. So a shortcut you can access to use control panel is you use the Windows key and then R, and then I'm going to use Window R, and then from here you can type in control, and that should open up. Wait, did this open up? It might have opened up my side.
Yeah, maybe the demo doesn't have all the full-fledged features, but yeah, just sort of show them whichever way it works in the demo.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there we go. This is a lot better. All right. So you can you click the Windows key and then you click Control Panel. But usually there's
And
also a search bar. You can search Control Panel or you just Windows R Control Panel. And from here, you have a list of options. And if you want to change someone else's password, you can just click User Accounts. From there, it just shows you your accounts, and you click Manage User Accounts. Uh, right, and now you want to scroll down to Jay Wells to find his password. So as you can see, Jay Wells, what? All right, Jay Wells. It says password protected, but as we can see from the password, it is not password protected. So we need to change his password. So if we want to change password, we can put something that has symbols, that's lengthy, it has numbers, and is uppercase, lowercase. So we could put like one capital L, like one cyber patriot at the rate. So one cyber. There we go. And then we can also, yeah, that sound just indicates that we just got some scoring points. And so user J Wells password update. There we go. We got 5 points. If I were to delete someone else's account, uh, then like if I were to delete J Wells' account, then that would be very problematic because we would lose points instead of gain them. So now, what I suggest we go through and we look for people that are on the list of administrators and authorized users, and then we determine who should be on of the user accounts and who should not be. So the administrators, there should only be five administrators. So if I go here, the control panel should open it.
so, quick. So again, right, during the actual competition, one of you should be sort of making notes. For example, based on the README, as Cadet Mitra said, you should have 5 administrators, and how many other users are there outside the administrators, Mitra?
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Around 15.
So you have 5 admins
So
and 15.
there's 15 authorized users.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and explain
Yeah.
what's next.
All right. Next, you have to scroll through each account and double check to see whichever one is authorized versus which ones are not authorized. So we can check A Cruz. That's us. We're supposed to be administrator, and that looks pretty good. Cramon is there. That's good. C Snow is there. Yes. Uh, E Swain. That's good. And then Grodd. Grodd is supposed to be a administrator, but as you can see over here, there should be a little text message saying like administrator, like over here we have administrator, but over here it just says local account password protective. So we click his account, we click change account name, we click administrator, and we click change account type. And then now we do manage another account. There we go. Now we just gain some more points. And we can scroll through again, Grodd, and then Hallen, H. Rathaway, H. Wells, H. Zolomon.
All right.
I don't think H. Zolomon's supposed to be here.
Let's pause here for a second. Is everyone understanding what is
Yeah.
happening? I'm gonna go around the panel. Cadet Bunting, you understand what's happening here?
Yes, sir, I understand.
Cadet Brugman,
Yes, sir.
you understand what is Mitra is trying to do?
Yes, sir.
And Gino, I know you joined
Yes,
late,
sir.
but in this demo,
I understand, sir.
all right. So essentially, this is what this phase is called user auditing. We are auditing based on the list of users given in the README. We are auditing that list versus the list of users already on the computer. Three things needs to happen. One thing is all the admins are correctly listed, all the users are correctly listed, and also try and find out if there are extra users on the computer who shouldn't be there based on the list that is there on the README. So you have to like think about these multiple factors: authorized admins, authorized users, and try and find out who are the people who are not listed in the README that exist on the computer. And of course, then you also have the password update that you need to do. All right, go on, Mitra.
All right, yeah. So I was saying, it's Zalman is not an account that's listed, so we click his account and we click delete the account. Click delete. We should get the points, but that will take some time. Jay Wells, I think is fine. No, Jay Wells, we also need to. Yeah, we changed his password before, so we're fine. Uh, Jay Garrick is supposed to be there. Yes. Jay West. Yes. El Snart and Roy. Oh, we need to change Roy's password because otherwise it'll be the text saying password protected. So change password. We can change it to anything random, to be honest.
Scared, Gino? You have something?
I saw that Jay West was said to be an administrator, but on the README it says that it should just be an authorized user.
Oh, great catch! Actually, I didn't notice that too. So okay, so Jay West, as you can see, has administrator over here, and over here it doesn't have anything. So we click the account. You click change the account type. You go to standard, change account type. There we go.
Perfect.
That's what we do. And now we continue. Ebenstein, okay. PS pivot, okay. Administrator pass protective. I'm pretty sure everyone else is pass protected, but let's double check. Oh, Savitar. Okay, Savitar is not an administrator. Well, he's an administrator right now. He's not supposed to be an administrator, so you click change account type, standard, and we should get the points for that now. There we go. So now we can check how many points we have. We have, like, I think 40. Yeah, we have 40. We have 40 points, which is pretty nice. And now we can check through media files. Actually, let's do the forensic questions because that seems a bit easy. Okay. So Leonard Snark, Captain Cold is it Flash related? Has obtained critical information on how to stop Flash and stored it on a desktop in a file in Cold Research. Flash suspects one of his team members created the document. Can you know Flash find the owner of this document? Okay. Cadet Jinu, I know you weren't here yesterday. If you can understand this, uh, do you know what we're doing right now?
I mean, I understood like the user auditing part, but what's the forensic question?
Okay. Oh yeah, so forensic questions are basically like questions they ask you on a cyber patient basis. So like, will be like icons here. You click them, and it opens a document like this. And over here, you read the question, and you basically answer to the best of your ability. So I'll walk you through how to do this. But I know Brugman and Bunting were here. So if any one of you want to explain how I can find this document, then feel free to say that now.
So you guys understood what the question is, right? Bunting, Brugman, Gino.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can someone explain what is the problem here? What are we trying to do?
We're trying to find who created the document. called cold research.
Okay, and where is the document? Who has the document? Which user has it?
Leonard Snart.
Do we have a user called Leonard Snart in our list of users?
I think so. Yeah, it's called Snort.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure no one really knows how to. Okay. If anyone wants to know how to solve this, it's a shared. We're the administrator, right? And it's a shared document. So you go to the local disk, you click users, and then you go to Leonard Snart. We found Leonard Snart. We click his desktop, and there we go. We found cold research. And now, in order to see who's the owner, we right click it, and then we click properties. Okay. Okay, this is just general details. Okay, the owner is Cremon, which is really cool because now we found the flash, find the owner of the document. So now we type Cremon. Is that I think that's how I spell it. Yeah, Cremon.
Oh,
Click
these are
again. You
like
right click.
flash characters.
What?
So do all like these like the Cyber Patriot activities have themes? Like this one has like characters from the Flash.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all character. Yeah, because there's one of like Santa's demo too. So most of them have themes. So okay, that's done. And music is not prohibited, if I'm not mistaken. You can check the README. Oh, non-media files and hacking tools. Okay. So interesting lo-fi music. We have to right-click that. We click delete. Pictures, downloads, CV cleaner, desktop. Sure. All right, there we go. So now you have everything. By the way, in this demonstration is all in the control panel. And if you want to disable service to see which services are non-related, you click Programs and Features. And now, can anyone tell me what we should uninstall versus what we should leave as is? Cadet Bunting?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Oh yeah. What should we delete and what should we keep in this program services?
Would you keep the top two, which would be Java 8 and Mozzarella Firefox, and delete the strange tool?
Yes, that's perfect. So you would right click that, uninstall. There we go. So we uninstalled that. Perfect. Great. Now we're at 65 points out of 100. So we're done in 20 minutes. Okay, that's good. Now what else is in the README? I think we should actually delete. Yeah, we should probably delete Java 8 too because that is. I guess you could say it is hacking tools, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember them mentioning that in the README, so it might be a hacking tool.
Yeah. So I'll just delete that. Alright, control play. There used to be a glitch where you can like go and you can actually go up to 200 points because of that. But okay, now we're into account policies, password policy. This is where most of your points actually come from. You enforce, I think, like 12 passwords, right? Yeah, I think 12. 12 passwords. Uh, maximum power age. Does anyone want to tell me what the maximum password age should be? Brugman?
8 characters.
No, that's the age, not character length. Like ages can be like, so maximum password age is like how long a password should be remembered for.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Does anyone else want to tell me?
Would it be a month?
I would say 90 days to be honest. That's what they told me. No, that's what the camp told me. But that's close. Brugman?
Oh no, I was never mind.
Oh, you're good. What about the minimum password age? Brugman?
I want to say 60.
60?
Hmm.
Okay. I think 60 is actually pretty good, but that is a little bit too long because minimum password age basically tells you when you set a password, how long should you keep on until that password is like not remembered anymore, and you
Right.
can't use your old one left. So that is a really great guess, but it should be between 10 and 30 days.
Okay.
I
Thank you.
think. No problem. So password can be changed after 30 days. There we go. And minimum password length should be 12 characters. All right. Does anyone have any questions up to now? How's that? Does anyone have any questions up to now? Virginia?
Well, some of the other like passwords for the previously like set up accounts for the administrators, they have like 8 character passwords. Do we have to update them so they get to 12?
No, not really. The minimum is between 8 to 12. If you hit in any of those ranges, then you'll be fine.
So
So
here in
password
this
must
case,
meet that.
you have stipulated it to be minimum 12 characters, right? Uh,
Yeah.
but to be on the safer side, to make it a good practice, yeah, go and change all the admin passwords as well to the most complex one that meets all the criteria.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter that if it is the same password in terms of the competition, you could type up a complex password in Notepad somewhere and just copy paste it into every user account. Really complex and long password. All right. So what else is missing here? What else?
We have two more scoring remarks. And that should be all. But does anyone give me a hint? Well, actually, let me pull up the readme. Does anyone like give me a hint as to what those two scoring remarks might be?
And
Let me like go
can you
up to
scroll down? What else is there at the bottom of the README?
at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Janu?
Shouldn't we make sure that there's the latest or yeah, the latest stable what's it called? Update for Microsoft Edge?
There you go. All right. So, latest stable version of Microsoft Edge. Okay. Let's see if that is correct. So the default web browser. Okay. The default web browser for all users on this computer should be the latest stable version of Microsoft Edge. Okay. Well, I can't open that. It's disappointing. No. Yeah, this is just like for after when you complete it. Um, but let me get out of this. Why can't I get out of this? Oh, Lieutenant Flash said I can't get out of this, which is weird.
Yeah, sometimes it hangs up, but pretty much you guys got all the basic all the questions here, right? Did we? Is there a second forensics question or there's only one?
There's only one in the
There's
basic.
one. Okay. So I think
Yeah.
you could kill the program and get out of it. Um, but pretty much this is a very basic entry level uh, demo slash experience on what a cyber patriot competition will look like. When we do the training images, you will see the training image also has somewhat similar questions, but it will be slightly larger in scope in terms of the challenges, etc. So Mitra, you can stop the presentation and you can kill the program for now while we discuss
Sure.
uh, through the image and challenges. There's one thing that I wanted to, couple of things I wanted to comment. One is uh, you guys did a great job figuring out that user auditing. Something that will help you speed up the process is think about a complex password, type it out in Notepad outside of the image. And when you are doing this, just copy paste the same password for all the users, another second complex password for all the administrators except for the logged in user. That will, that will speed up your steps while you're trying to edit the user list. The second thing that I think Java 8 is a valid program. It's a legitimate program in many situations. So it may not have harmed you in removing it, but in a lot of computers, there will be a Java version that is required for some of the programs to work. So you have to be a bit careful. And as you know, in the demo, the tool that you removed was called Strange tool. In reality, in the competition, there will be so many programs installed. You really will have to do your research to figure out which one is a valid, legitimate program versus which one is something that you should remove. So so that is going to come up in the image that we are going to do. So any questions, any other points you guys want to discuss? So if not, let's do one more thing, Cadet Mitra. If you have VMware, open up the training round image for Windows, and let's read through the README again. And you guys have the conversation. We won't have to don't do anything on the image. Just read through the README and sort of have the same conversation again from the training image.
Yes, sir. Let me open it on my side first so I can
Yeah.
see if it's working or not.
Or if any of the other cadets have VMware ready with the training image, feel free to volunteer. We are not going to touch the image. We are just going to go through the README and discuss. Cadet Brugman?
I'm loaded into Workstation Pro 17. Do I hit create a new virtual machine?
No,
No,
you click open file and then you open your Windows 10.
the existing one. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
So I'm hoping you have downloaded the training round image and you have extracted it, like you have unzipped and extracted the files into a folder. So you have to say open a virtual machine and look at that particular VM.
Thank you, sir.
So what's going on, Mitra? You're bringing up the VM?
I am, but I actually have it up, but it's not like letting the read I know my computer's like lagging a lot, and it's just showing Sparky. That's all.
All right. So
It just asked
it's
me for.
actually, yeah. So you have to figure out, for our competition, we need to have 3 decent computers that are not lagging. So I don't know, Mitra, if you have other options. Kenneth Brugman, go ahead.
Due to my computer malfunctioning, I didn't get to put in the 12-character unique identifier code. Would you mind telling me that, sir?
All right. Let me paste that. Give me 1 second. Give me a minute. So I'm going to paste it in our Cyber Patriot chat.
Thank you, sir.
I'm also going to paste it in the team chat. Hold on. Let me in the, let's see. This is the, so I have, got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Right. If you guys are having an issue, let me see if I can pull up mine. Since it's only reading the README, I would expect you guys to sort of discuss through that. Does that work?
Sure, that's fine.
So,
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Right, let's have mine.
let me share my screen. See my screen, right? So again, I got VMware up. I'm going to open a virtual machine. Go to the folder. I'm going to pick the virtual machine and hit the play button. All right, system has booted up. And you can see that the system is still loading based on the icons that are coming up on the lower right. First thing is set the unique identifier. There's already something there, so I'll just say apply. Now, unlike the demo image, there are two forensic questions. We're not going to see the forensic questions. We're just going to discuss the README. So let's open it up. Come up the first time, so give me a second. Okay, now it open. So This is the README file. So go ahead and discuss what is here. I'll hand it over to you. You can let's lead the conversation, please.
Okay. So we first start up the mission scenario. So from there, we read the first couple lines. It is for new company. Broken
I just want to say there's a really, really, really bad echo. I don't know if it's just me.
Yeah.
well, Lieutenant Flashlight, can you? Okay, there you go.
Oh, it was just me. Sorry. Never mind.
Oh no, you're fine. So okay, so we're required to secure passwords, but then that policy may not be currently enforced. As we saw that before, we need to check each user for their secure passwords. The presence of any non-work related media files and hacking tools on any computer should be prohibited. So that basically means that the again like Wireshark, we saw a Wireshark icon that is not allowed, and any media file is not allowed. Non-work like interesting lo-fi music that's not really that's prohibited. And this company does not use any centralized maintenance or pulling tools to manage IT equipment. Okay. So it does not use any maintenance or anything related to that for to manage their IT equipment. That makes sense. So then this computer is used for official business only by authorized users. So we check the authorized users, administrators, and users, and we go through the control panel to see who's authorized, who's not, who's on this account, who's an administrator, who's not, things like that. And we the Windows Access Center should be enabled and monitor security status of desktop Windows. So this was not in the demo image which I shared, but this is you go to the Windows you go to the Windows Access Center, and then you can either enable it or you can either disable it. And firewall should always be turned on in Cyber Patriot, and just in general too. They should always be turned on. Something that's important is please do not attempt to install Windows feature updates. Okay. So we do not install feature updates, preview builds, or we don't use the reset this PC or go back to an earlier build. Okay. So that's the conversation scenario. And we can only use Windows 10 on this computer. And the default web browser should be the latest stable version of Firefox. So we should delete Google Chrome and we should also delete Microsoft Edge. So they should have the latest stable version of GIMP and Inkscape for computer use, company use. So we can either download GIMP on Inkscape or we can update that. And any required software should not be installed using the Microsoft Store. Okay, so we cannot use the Microsoft Store to install anything. We can use a Chrome Store though. We hired a new employee. Okay, I didn't teach you guys this, but you need to go to the control panel. You click add a new setter, a new user in PC settings, and then you should create a password, and then you create a new account. And groups too are a little bit easier. I didn't teach you this either, but you can create a new group via the command line, or you can create a new group using control panel again. And in that group, you assign certain members. Like in this case, we want to add R Piando, C Fang, O Tai Lee, and Paku. So yeah, that's basically the important stuff. Lieutenant Flores said, can you scroll down to the bottom?
Read through all the this part.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not required to change the password of any primary, autolog, or user account. If I change the password of a user, it is set to automatically log in, may lock me out of my computer. Okay. So I do not need to do that. So authorized administrative passwords correct the last time you password it, were not guaranteed to be currently accurate. So look through the authorized administrators, go through the control panel, and just set the password history, things like that. Do not disable or stop the CCS client services or process. So I'm pretty sure that's a trick question. Most cyber patriots do that. So what happens is they go to CCS client, they'll see it's enabled and they'll disable it. In this case, I'm pretty sure it'll be disabled, so you want to enable it this time. So do not remove any authorized user. Okay, that's normal. UTC, do not change the date. Okay. Squaring report. JavaScript. Okay. Yeah. That is. Yeah, that's all basically.
So what exactly is the CCS client service?
CCS client service is. I'm not too familiar with that actually. Is it like your
Anyone else want
or
to take a guess? So CCS client service, CCS actually stands for this. So don't stop that service, because that service is the one that is actually communicating with the master server, and all the scoring, etc., happens because of that service being running in the system.
oh, that makes sense.
So this, like all the data that gets communicated to and fro, the timings. So here you'll see the right CCS server connection status, CCS server score status, the 3 lines. So the CCS client connection service is responsible for communicating with the central server. So this is a valid instruction. Do not stop or disable this. But you can always evaluate other services that you want to stop or disable that is not required. Everybody good with the README?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now
Yes, sir.
one question I have is, where exactly is the README file? Where is it located?
In the desktop.
Sorry.
It's located on the desktop. There's going to be an icon that says README.
So it's a trick question. What is located on the desktop is actually a shortcut to the README. Why? Because you have the small arrow. And yesterday we spoke about the shortcut files. Correct? So there are 2 ways to figure out where exactly the actual README file is. One is you right click, do properties. So what it is showing you, it's a .url is basically a shortcut file. But the actual physical location of the file is when you open it. Where is it? Where is it actually opening this particular page from? You see, it is actually on the internet. It is on the Cyber Patriot website, not on the local desktop. So it is on the www.cyberpatriot.org website. On the other hand, if you look at the scoring report, the scoring report is on the file system. It is in File, C drive, Cyber Patriot, scoring report.html. So this is a local file, but this is a remote file on a website. Let's figure out where the unique identifier, set unique identifier. This is basically like sort of a program. You could actually figure out where this shortcut is pointed as well. Again, go to properties, and it shows you that there is a program called setteam.exe in Cyber Patriot. Do not touch those files. All right, so we will exit out of this. One of these days we will have to meet in person, where we will attempt all the 3 training images. But before that, I want to make sure that you guys are very familiar with Unix, Linux, and Ubuntu. What we'll do is we'll take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and we'll sort of go over a couple of PowerPoint training material on Linux/Ubuntu. So it's 5:59. Let's meet at 6:05 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Right? Any questions? We'll just or we'll meet back at 6:05. Right, is everyone back?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
1, 2,
Yes, sir.
3. Right, let's get this started. All right, so by now, all of you have very good familiarity, decent familiarity with the Windows operating system. Now we are going to cover the something called Linux. Show of hands, how many of you have an understanding of or know what Linux is, or is it the first time that you are hearing about it? So, if you know what, or heard of, or have some knowledge about the word Linux, show me your, uh, show of hands. One, Ryan, Mitra, two. So I'll assume Brugman and Bunting, Linux is pretty new to you. So at least you'll get an introduction out of this. All right. So let me pull up. And again, right, Linux is basically an operating system. It's a different form of an operating system. So I'm going to share my screen. Window. So this particular session, the next 1 hour, we are going to spend time on introduction to Linux and Ubuntu. Learning objectives, we'll understand what is this Linux, what does it mean, how is it different from Linux is basically an operating system. It's a different form of an operating system. So there will be an overview, the terms and the words that we use in Linux. Some may be similar to what we see in Windows, but in some cases it will be different. We are going to talk about Linux system architecture and, as I said, differences, similarities with Windows. We're going to talk about the Linux command line, and there's a particular command called sudo. And we are going to go a little bit in depth about all these commands. At a very high level, what Linux is, there is even before Windows came into picture in the 1980s and in the 1990s, the world was pretty much running on this operating system called Unix. Unix was, I believe, came into being in 1969 or so. And over a period of time, there are different versions and flavors of Unix that were built. And Linux is essentially a open source free software that that was developed by an engineer called Linus Torvalds, and because of his name, they sort of named it as Linux. So it is an open source collaborative OS. A lot of programmers contribute to it, and many of these software are basically you can download them from certain authorized websites for free. Have you? How many of you have heard about the word open source? So Mitra, can you explain what it means?
Open source is basically like when someone publishes their code to the world, and other people can view it and also possibly edit it.
Kenneth Bunting, what is your understanding of open source?
About it a little bit.
Nope.
And Kenneth,
I heard about it in AP Computer Science Principles, and we were talking about how like some like environments are like very restricted on like who can share what like programs and stuff, while open source is like everyone can like work collaboratively on something.
That is 100% correct. So the key difference is, a simple example is the Windows operating system. It is built by the company Microsoft. Microsoft owns the entire source code of the operating system, and when it is deployed as part of the computer, you do not have access to the main source code of that particular operating system. It is Microsoft that controls it, that owns it, and only they can make the changes, or only the companies that they approve can make changes to the underlying source code. On the other hand, open source is basically any software operating system where where the code is freely available under the new license. It's called the GNU, pronounced as new license. Essentially, no single company or entity owns that source code for that particular product. So it is, as Garrett Ginu said, it is built by a community of collaborative programmers, contributors, even companies in some examples. And the source code is open for everybody to read, modify, and distribute as they want. So that is essentially the definition of open source. Um, so anyone can use, modify, distribute the Linux kernel. Anyone can develop software. You don't have to take permissions from any major company. And a lot of these systems and add-on programs are free. How does the so at a very high level, again, you guys don't have to, you will sort of understand it as we go along. We spoke about hardware and software, right? The hardware is basically the physical CPU, the central processor unit, which sits on a motherboard, and all the devices that connect to the computer and the memory. But how do we as users make use of this hardware is the operating system provides the 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 interface with which we can make the hardware do the work. So you do have the operating system has something called a kernel. In this case, Linux has a kernel which directly interfaces with the hardware. So the definition of kernel is it's a core component of the operating system, and the kernel manages the hardware system resources, memory, process, input, output devices. And on the top of this kernel, there is something called a shell, which can be a command line interface or a GUI. So the user will input some commands into the shell. The kernel will translate the user given command and use it against the hardware. A lot of terminology, but a simple example is you have a CD drive on the computer. If in the GUI you right click the drive icon, and there may be an option that says eject, and if you click that eject, that is essentially your input into the shell. The underlying kernel will translate that into a command and physically open the CD drive for you on your computer. So that's high level how the shell kernel sort of interact with the hardware components. There are for Unix and Linux, there are many different flavors of the operating system. We are going to work on something called the Ubuntu operating system, which is basically, on Linux. So Ubuntu is a free software. Anyone can download an image, and you can actually create a virtual machine using one of these downloaded images. So there is Ubuntu, there is Red Hat, Fedora. I have only used Ubuntu and Red Hat to an extent. At a very basic level, they are all similar, but the graphical user interface might be a little bit different from one flavor to the other. So here is an example of how the Ubuntu GUI, it's on the top, looks different from the another flavor called the Debian. Debian operating system. But both are essentially, they are built on Linux. So at the kernel, so you have the kernel, then you have something called the desktop interface. Ubuntu uses something called Unity. Debian uses something called GNOME. Again, too much detail, but high level, you have to understand that even though they look different, the underlying kernel is based off Linux. So the commands that you learn on one flavor uh, of this operating system, most of them will work on other Linux systems as well. Mm, differences between Linux and Windows. We have seen Windows over the last couple of days. As I mentioned, Windows operating system and applications are sold by Microsoft or by vendors that Microsoft authorizes. But for Linux, whether it is Ubuntu, whatever, it is open source and free. Um, there is only one interface for Windows. Linux may come in different flavors. Uh, there is both of them have command lines. The Linux command line has much more capabilities. It has a lot more commands that you can use. One of the greatest weakness of Windows is the Windows operating system is more prone to malware because a lot of hackers target the Windows system to write these viruses, malware, bloatware, things like that creates problems on Windows computer. The Linux machine, on the other hand, are much more stronger in terms of security. So it is very rare for us to encounter malware or viruses on Linux, but it is known to happen. I mean, there's probably a 1% chance as compared to what we see on Windows. Now we're talking about Linux and Windows. What other operating systems are out there that some of you are using?
Mac OS.
Mac OS. There is also something called Chrome OS that is used on Chromebooks. But my understanding is Mac OS underlying file system, etc., works like Unix. Is that a true statement? I'm not. I honestly don't know the answer because I very rarely use Mac OS, but my understanding is from the command line, it works pretty much like a Linux or a Unix machine. All right, similarities to Windows. There are Linux servers, workstations similar to Windows. There are applications that have common functionalities. Like in Microsoft, you have MS Office that has Word, Excel, PowerPoint. In Linux, you have something called LibreOffice and Thunderbolt email client. Both are stable. As I mentioned, right, Linux systems are targeted less frequently by malware, but they still have the same kind of principles. You have users, you have groups, you have firewalls, you have virus scanners, you have password policies. So in terms of the activities and principles, they are very similar. So we will jump to section 2, Ubuntu terminology and concept. So the particular flavor of operating system that we are going to troubleshoot is called Ubuntu. In Ubuntu, you have a similar concept as you have admin user as well as a regular user. So you have a Linux administrator user called root. Root has all the powers on the particular operating system. So like a built-in administrator, Linux comes with a root account. Um, System can have multiple root accounts, but you will most likely log into the system as a root user, but you have an option of changing over to not to what we call have the same privileges as a root user. So you'll understand as we go through the some of the images. When you have root permissions, you have access. You have all permissions to do everything on the computer. So you have to be very careful with the commands that you are executing because you can cause a lot of damage if if you have root privileges and you're not strong in terms of your knowledge of the commands. Root actions require a password in both GUI and command line. You will see that as we go through that. And this root users are authorized to do many different tasks, but they must authenticate their identity by entering the password. For example, you will be able to like format entire partitions. Partitions are like drives within the Ubuntu operating system. But every time you want to do something that is considered highly privileged, the system will ask you to enter your password. So you have to frequently enter your password and authenticate yourself to carry out some of these actions. Then you have the Ubuntu file system. It is different from the Windows file system. It does have the same similar folder structure, but in Windows you write a file path as C colon signifying the C drive. You have a backslash, like for example in this case Windows C backslash documents backslash hello.txt. We do not really have drives in Linux slash Ubuntu. You have folders. Drives are essentially mounted as folders within the root. So if you have C backslash documents backslash hello.txt as a file in Windows, the same thing could be in Linux, will be forward slashes. Slash home, which will be a home directory for the user. Cyber Patriot is a folder in it, and hello.txt is a file. Note you have the similar concept. You have the file name dot extension, file name dot extension. The only difference is instead of backslash, you are going to use forward slashes, and you won't have a drive letter in Linux slash Ubuntu. In Ubuntu, by default, all the user for related files, documents, media files are stored in a home folder. Anything outside of the home folder, you will usually treat it as system files. For example, there is a slash boot folder that has a startup files and kernel files. Never touch them unless you are an expert user. There are configuration files in slash etc. Similarly, some systems have a slash bin that stands for binary files. But for the purpose of the exercise, the user documents are always in slash home, and programs, etc., might be in slash bin. The file system can be accessed by clicking the file cabinet on your Ubuntu menu bar. So similar to Windows, Ubuntu also has several prepackaged programs. For example, on the right side, what you're seeing is the Ubuntu desktop. In Ubuntu, the taskbar is vertical and can be on the side. I believe you can move it. You can play with it when you launch an Ubuntu image, but it has similar applications. You have a Firefox icon, you have a Thunderbird email client icon, and this particular one is like your app store in your phone. It is called the Ubuntu Software Center. And in Ubuntu Software Center, when you click it, it will open up in a window similar to what you see in Windows, and it will have options like what are actually already installed, what are the software that require updates, and anything that is not installed, you can explore it through this particular tab. You should have root permissions to install or update or modify or even remove any already existing software. And there are different. I know we'll navigate through an Ubuntu instance in a few minutes. You will understand what all exists when you explore through it. So before I jump to the command line, let's sort of boot up the Ubuntu image and explore what exists out there. So any questions as I start bringing up the virtual machine? Any questions about Unix, Ubuntu?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir. Right. So Windows. This is the VM that is coming up. So once again, I have downloaded the training image for Ubuntu, and I'm playing it in the VMware software. So it does take a little bit of time to boot up. So while it boots up, all right, there you go. So this is your Ubuntu. You obviously it will start with a computer agreement and asking me for my unique identifier. So I'm going to use the one that I pasted, 10p8 LQ. So the concept is similar. So this is the Ubuntu desktop. So instead of having a taskbar at the bottom window, I have something on the vertically on the left side with icons for applications. I also have another sort of a status bar on the top, which has the date clock, alarm, and there is an equivalent of a system tray on the top right corner. And this is my on-off switch. I can power off, log out, log the system. I can look at where is my how is my internet connection is, uh, play with the volume. This is the equivalent of the system tray / notification icons in window. Um, but essentially, some things might come up regularly. So what do I notice in the desktop? It's pretty much similar. I have forensic question text, forensic question 1, forensic question 2, and I have the same shortcuts that I have. So similar to Windows, I will set my unique identifier. I will open up the Cyber Patriot scoring report to understand if it is running or not. And it opens up in Firefox browser. Note that the windows in the application windows in Ubuntu will look slightly different from what you see on a Windows operating system, but the concept is the same. You can close it, you can maximize it, you can minimize it. There is an address bar here. You have a refresh, back, forward. There is a hamburger menu that has browser options. So it is somewhat similar to Windows. And going through the Ubuntu round again, 100 points is the max you can score. There are 19 security issues for this image, and we can go through the README and understand what the scenario is, etc. But before I go to the README, let's do a little bit more exploring here. So I have the Firefox browser, as you can tell by the icon. I have the Thunderbird mail client. If I click it, it will launch the client. When you load the image, feel free to explore, look around. I can close it, and this one is basically like a file explorer. You click it, it takes you to a file explorer, and you can see, okay, what is there in my home directory, documents, downloads, music, pictures. I can go to my desktop, which is essentially the files listed on the desktop. my document folder, which has an image file. What have I done? Downloads is empty, music, pictures, videos, and then there's a trash recycle bin. If you hit other locations, it will probably show you network. So when you click other locations and you see this computer, the computer is the equivalent of this PC that you see on Windows, whatever. So when I click there, so it takes me to the root directory. The just like in Windows, you have a C drive and you have subfolders. This is where when you click computer, it takes you to the root directory. Now, most of each of these folders will have a particular purpose. For the at this stage, as I said, home is where you will see user folders. What was the username when we logged in? It was 11, right? But let's see. So it is showing me all the other users that exist. But again, if I have to go back to my home folder, I can go there. So typically, your program files will be in bin. Boot will have your boot files. Var sometimes Linux is essentially the operating system that is used on most of the internet web servers. A lot of times your websites etc are hosted on Linux computers, and the website files are stored under var, and you can have a www folder, and the web server runs the files that are presented in this subdirectory. Again, this is probably you'll not see this in the competition, but you should essentially be aware of how to use the file explorer and navigate through that. Now, this is basically a music app. It's called the Rhythm Box. Again, on the taskbar, you have a thrash, so what do you call the thrash folder, recycle folder. You have a help button, and this Ubuntu Software Center is sort of like your app store. Before I jump to the Ubuntu software, another icon you see is at the bottom, which shows you all the applications that are currently on this particular computer. So as part of your email, and the competition, this is one of the places where you have to go and audit all the programs and understand, are these applications allowed? Another thing to note is you will see this two dots. That means there are two pages. If I scroll down, I will go to the second page. First page, second page. So always be aware of how many dots are there. Each dot is a page that shows you a list of applications. Then I can go to the desktop just by clicking there again. The two icons you see are it is showing you two desktop screens, one or two. Why does this matter? Let me open this. On this desktop, I have opened a text file, but when I go here on desktop 2, I don't have anything. So you have to be careful. You have to be aware of how many desktops are there. So the text file was opened on this one. I can go there and close it. Now let's take a look at the App Store / Ubuntu Software Center. When you click that, it will take you to a particular window. As I said, if you can go to installed and find out all the applications that are installed. And you want to remove something, you start from here. You could go to updates to see which of the applications have updates available. You can update it as required. And if you want to install something new, for example, I do not have an image editor called GIMP. So I can go to here and search for the application that I want to install. Maybe this doesn't work, but all right, yep, it works. GIMP is basically a new image manipulation program. So I can pick that application and I can press install and it will install. Tomorrow you need an essential firewall software. Maybe let's search for that. Now these are I'm trying to search for applications that are available in the App Store. Typically for Ubuntu, UFW, the uncomplicated firewall, is something people prefer. So UFW is something that could be installed if there is no existing software. You could also install these applications via the command line, and we'll sort of cover the command line separately. So I hope this sort of gives you an introduction to what the Ubuntu operating system looks like. Another one that I should probably show you is I can go to apps, and in the apps there is something called utilities. Let's see what is there in utilities. Utilities have smaller, tinier micro apps. You also have something called terminal. System monitor will monitor what are the processes that are currently running. Processes, resources, you get an idea of your file system, how much free space is there or not, how busy is your CPU, memory. This is similar to the task manager in Windows. And processes essentially tells you all the processes that are currently running on the particular Ubuntu PC. That being said, another thing to remember is we spoke about command line. Terminal is basically what your command line is. So in this case, when you kick off the command line, it tells you the name of the user that is logged in. In this case, it is Perry, and you are logged in as Ubuntu. So there are some basic commands that you can use. For example, I want to know which directory I am in on the hard drive. So the one command for that is pwd, which is basically path. Tells me that I am in /home/Perry subdirectory. I can look at the same thing. We're going to other locations, computers, go to home, and Perry, okay, it has the home icon. So this is my home directory. If I go to desktop, I should see the same files that I see on the desktop. So if I want to list, if I want to say what are the files that are there in the Perry subdirectory, there are two ways. I can use a dir command for directory, similar to Windows, and it will tell me all the folders that are currently available. There is an alternate Unix command called list, and it has 2 characters, ls. It gives me the same output. So there's a whole bunch of commands that we can learn. One particular command that really regularly use is a version of the list command, ls dash. You can give certain options. LTR is one of the options. Honestly I don't know, but essentially it gives me a lot of detail about each file or folder. In the first instance, I don't know which ones are folders, which ones are files, but when I use -LTR, it gives me a lot of details. By the end of our training, you will be able to like sort of decipher what all this means. I can see the folder names here, but some of the other thing is there is a date. It tells me the date the folder was created, the size of the folder, or the size of the file. And there's other information. Essentially, this tells you who's the owner, group, the permissions, etc. We'll cover that later. If I type clear, everything gets cleared out. So there are various commands. Most ones that I use are ls. There are other commands like copy. You copy one file to another file by using copy command. If you do double dash and type help, it will give you the sort of the option. You can read through all the flags, all these extra options that come up for the command. So CP is one thing, MB is for moving, meaning you can move file 1 to file 2. There are several file manipulation commands that you can use. Then there's a whole bunch of commands that we use for setting permissions. All that will come in the advanced classes. So with that being said, one of the assignments I will give to you cadets is over the next few days, when once you come back from school, please boot up the Ubuntu image, navigate, make familiarize yourself, explore every option that you have, every software, understand what it does. Hmm? And same thing with utilities. Explore and basically figure out what object, which function is hidden where. So that essentially covers the introduction to the Ubuntu operating system. So let's jump back to the introduction to Linux command line. Let me pull that up. Stop sharing and start sharing once I have the PowerPoint up. All right, so yep, let's go cover the section number 3. I think I got about 10 slides in this section, and what we will do is we will cover the theory part, maybe one of the sessions, the virtual sessions that we do. I'm thinking the next one is probably maybe on Wednesday, because Monday I have a CAP meeting. Tuesday we have the brand events quarter meeting. Thursday I'm sure the DANG meeting is there, so that essentially leaves us Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And I'll talk about next meeting plans on the chat. All right, so there is it. I already spoke about the tree, the file system structure in Linux. Linux files are stored in directories, which the same as folders. In fact, we use the term directory and folder interactively, but the right way is you call them directories in Linux and folders in Windows. We all understand that the directory structure is sort of in the tree format, and I've already shown you how it looks using the computer icon within the Ubuntu software. You have the root, which is symbolized by a forward slash, and within that multiple folders at the root level. Typically, the home folder here, the home folder will have the user folders as well as the user files. Configuration files are stored in etc. Typically, there are default rc.d sysconfig, again for an advanced user level. MNT is short form for mount. MNT is where you have you can have additional drives. It could be a CD drive, DVD drive, floppy drive. Anyone heard the word floppy drive? Seen one? You have seen a floppy drive?
Sir, is it a
I've
storage
I've
unit? Oh, sir, is it a storage unit? My dad actually used to have one.
Yes, a floppy drive is sort of like a DVD drive. They're out of fashion. Maybe I don't know if I have any of them hanging around, but yeah, it's been a while since anybody would have seen them. But in the 90s, the floppy drive is how we used to copy files and folder, files into a PC. We didn't have USB drives. We didn't have CD drives. Floppy drives was how programs and software were transported between one computer to the other. But yeah, so in the MNT directories where these would be mounted. Similarly, under user, there are again different folders. I said bin is where some of the programs will be loaded, and var is where in many of the web servers you will find log files, you will find the website files, etc. stored under var. So when we operate with the command line, this is the tree structure that we'll be navigating. Same thing, you have directories, you have files. Remember, the file names are case sensitive. The commands are case sensitive. It is always good lowercase alphabets. So essentially, the Unix command line, the Linux Ubuntu command line is very powerful. You could expand on the command lines. You can write scripts that will essentially automate things. To give you an example of automation, when you're doing the Windows challenge of auditing the users, how much work was it? It was quite a bit, right? You are going to every individual user, you are updating their password, you're making sure they're an admin or a regular user. There was a lot of work and you had to do it user by user. To count it, you are like clicking the mouse multiple times, navigating multiple windows, etc. So that is an example of manual work that you're doing on a computer. Automation, on the other hand, if you're using an Ubuntu PC, you can write a script that will have maybe 3 lines, 4 lines, 5 lines, maybe 10 lines. And when you execute the script, it can go and update the password for all the users within the system in like 10 seconds, or maybe less than that, in seconds. Let me put it this way. So you save a lot of time. Instead of auditing 16, 20 users manually, if you have a script ready to go, that 20 users will probably take you 30 minutes to work through or 15 minutes to work through. If you write a script using the command line, you can get that done in seconds. Any questions on that about automation? So the pros of the command line is you can save clicking time because it just requires a keyboard. It is also fast. Anything that you run through the command line is pretty fast because you're not using the graphical user interface. When you build scripts, the scripts can execute a list of commands, and it will save you a lot of time. The disadvantages of the command line is, obviously it requires a lot of practice and a lot of training to be proficient. If you don't practice, if you're not regularly using it, we tend to forget the commands. And it happens a lot. Even though I've been using Unix for the last 20 years, I still have to go, since I don't use it regularly, I still have to go look up the correct syntax, the correct way to type up the command. Nowadays, it has been, Chat GPT has made it a little bit easy, but definitely being proficient in command lines is a great skill that you can take forward when you go to college. Accessing the command line, I already told you how to access it. You can go to that apps show applications button and search for the terminal thing, or you can type terminal in the search button. Shortcut is Control Alt T. You should try that out in the Ubuntu. When typing commands in the terminal, very important to pay attention to capitalization and spaces. When you press the enter key, it executes. Again, there are numerous Ubuntu command databases and command line tutorials. Let me paste this so that you guys have something to do as homework. Let me get that to you. It's in the chat. Same thing. I think the links will work in this one. All right. Next is yeah. We talked about command line, commands, etc. So there is something we should know what exactly is the right syntax for that command. Syntax is nothing but the order in which the commands are typed out. So essentially, you have something called when you type out this command in the command line, you have the first part, the first word that comes after the prompt is the command. You may be giving an option, and then you give a file name / location for the operation to be conducted. In this case, cat is a command. Cat essentially displays the contents of a file, and sometimes you can use it to create a copy of a file, etc. So you have the command, you have the option, then you have the file name. Someone make a list of these commands. Maybe I'm going to pick on Cadet Brugman. If you have access to a notepad, note this command down. The cat command, CAT.
I do have access to a notepad, sir.
Or just write it down somewhere. Yep. Cat is one command. Just like English sentences, you have the command syntax can get very complex. Some of the other commands, pwd. I think it's present working directory. I think I showed you that. ls is list segments, meaning list the files in the directory. cd is change directory. cd is a common command in Windows as well as in Linux. So cd. Then you should understand the paths, right? You have something called an absolute path and a relative path. Absolute path is if the file path that you write from the root of your computer. So home / cyberpatriot / music will give you the absolute path. Relative path is essentially a route to the file from the current directory that you are on. Again, as you work through it, you'll understand this concept much more easier. So basic navigation commands, pwd, ls, cd. Then there's a command called man. Man is for manual. If you type man and the command name, it will give you the entire manual for that particular command. Many commands have the help or the -h option. ls -- help will give you the help for any particular command. file contents and output redirection. So you have a cat command, you got a file command, echo. We'll test some of these out. So in the next session, what we're going to do is we are going to run this. I want you cadets to be very familiar running these commands on an Ubuntu image. So for example, cat -n, I think this creates a file called hello2.txt. So there are other, so you can close the terminal by clicking the orange folder on the menu bar. You can create files, etc. So then there's another command called sudo command. Sudo allows a user to temporarily get administrator privileges. A lot of times when you run a command in the command line, it may say you don't have permissions. So you can use sudo to sort of get temporary permissions to execute this administrative task. This window sort of tells you the error messages that you'll see. It will say only root may add a, like if you say add user Archimedes, add user is actually a command to add a user. It may say only a root may add a user, you do not have the permission. So you can say sudo add user Archimedes and it will give you sudo add user Archimedes and it will allow you to execute that command. Then there is a su command. Basically, I think it is a switch user. You can switch. You can switch. You can log in as user number one, and if you know the password for say the root user, you can say switch user to root. It will ask you for your password. Enter the root password, and then you will behave like the root user. So that's sort of an overview of the command line. I know we are at 6:57, 3 more minutes. Let me see if we can do a quick demo of some of the uh, some of the command line things that we learned. So you can see the Ubuntu image. So the ones that we learned was ls tells you that you have something called if I go to cd documents, I can change directory. There is a, if I say file.l.jpg, tells me what is the type of the file. If I say cat l.jpg, it will try to list out the content. Since it's a JPG file, it might just show me a lot of junk. Yeah, it is showing a lot of junk. Type clear, we clear. Then we got the path. What else? Is there anything that you guys want me to test here? So essentially, this is what it is. You go to the command line and practice all the commands. Go through the URLs. Try to learn some of those commands. When you get onto the Ubuntu image, you can practice this without actually attempting the image. So with us reaching the time limit, I'm going to call it a day. Folks have a good rest of the day. Any questions? Please, you can ask me now or you can type it up in the chat. We will continue the conversation about when we are going to meet next. We may do a virtual session on Wednesday, might be a little bit late because I'm actually traveling on Wednesday all the way up to Saturday. So most of the sessions that we will do will probably be on Wednesday and maybe one on Saturday. But I do want to do an in-person meeting on Sunday so that you can actually attempt these images in person and work as a team. That being said, everyone have a good day and go back and practice whatever we learned today. Thank you.
Have a good day, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you
Really
for your time.
helpful.